After 3 months in Japan, it was time to move on. We had no idea what the first 48 hours in South Korea would actually feel like. But it definitely wasn't the simple transition we had in mind. We are Joseph, Martijn and our dog Buddy. We have left the grind behind to embrace the freedom of life on the road, trading office chairs for camp chairs and deadlines for dirt roads. Guided by Kodiwompo to travel in a purposeful manner towards a vague destination, we are here to share our journey, stories and tips for living adventurously. Hop in and join as we roam, explore and embrace the unexpected. After 2 years traveling Australia, we are now exploring South Korea. After 3 months in Japan, it was finally time to move on. South Korea was next. A new country and a completely new chapter of the journey.
Made it after all the stress driving because of the traffic jam. So what are we doing now? What?
We handed in our passports and the carnet, the passage for the car, and we're just waiting in the terminal till the paperwork is finished. And I think you could board only at 10:30 or 11, something like that. So we're just playing with Woody and killing some time here. A few final checks, a bit more paperwork, and before long it was time to drive aboard. After 3 months in Japan, our adventure was finally about to begin.
So everyone are already on board and we are the last to get into the ship because I think of the doggy situation. So we've been waiting here for nearly 3 hours. Arigato gozaimasu. Yeah. Our passport gets stamped. Oh, and Troopy is here.
Although the crossing only takes about 7 hours, traveling with Buddy meant we needed to book a private cabin. It gave us a comfortable place to relax during the journey, and before we knew it, South Korea was getting closer. As the ferry pulled away from the harbor, it finally started to sink in. Our time in Japan was over, and judging by the look of Buddy's face, he wasn't quite ready to leave either. For a journey of just 7 hours, the new Camellia had more facilities than we expected. There was a restaurant, a games area, karaoke rooms, and even a small onsen on board. It felt less like a ferry and more like a miniature cruise ship. With a private cabin all to ourselves, Buddy was quick to make himself comfortable. Back home, he's definitely not allowed on a bed, but somehow the rules always seem to get a little bit more flexible when we are traveling.
Especially going through this embarkation. And we have this special paper that we need to give to the information desk so that they will help us to disembark because we're the only car with a dog and everything, so we need to do that.
Before we could start exploring South Korea, there was one more hurdle to get through. As soon as the ferry arrived, Joseph took Buddy through the passenger immigration, while I headed down to collect the Troopy and begin the temporary import process. After months in Japan, we were officially starting all over again in the new country. A few hours later, the paperwork was finally done. The gate opened, and just like that, we were in South Korea. But it wasn't quite the arrival we imagined. It was already getting late, the rain hadn't stopped, we didn't have anything booked for the night.
Finally, after nearly almost 2 hours of all the paperwork with the car, we are at the South Korean soil. And now we are going to figure out the challenging part, driving on the opposite side of the road. Guys, first 5 minutes drive. It's kind of a bit confusing, and Matt is really focused at the moment because it's dark and it's raining, so it's quite difficult to see the road lines. So kind of a bit struggling, but I'll get it. I'll get there. Good day, greetings from Korea. Our officially first day here. Weather is a bit meh because it's raining. So far it's okay, so good I guess. The good thing is in front of us is the beautiful beach, surfing beach here in Busan.
By the way, our first night in South Korea wasn't exactly glamorous. With rain falling all evening, we ended up sleeping inside the Troopy. Not our best night's sleep, but we are here. Anxiously looking at our
meters, a red light and speed camera ahead. Speed.
We are next to the toll gate because we accidentally go into the expressway and we didn't get any ticket. So right now Martin is trying to figure out how we're going to pay, and we don't really understand what they said. So right now I am waiting just next to the toll gate.
Finding somewhere to spend the night turned out to be a lot harder than it had been in Japan. We already missed the convenience of the Michi-no-Eki network. Campgrounds were generally more expensive here, and stealth camping around busy cities is something we are still figuring out. At this point, it felt like we hadn't quite found our rhythm yet. We thought we'd found the perfect spot for the night, but just as we were getting ready for bed, we were asked to move on. With nowhere left to go, we ended up at a roadside stop beside the highway. Between the trucks, we found a spot for the night. Not exactly what we had in mind arriving in South Korea. The next morning, we discovered another thing we already missed about Japan. The spotless clean public toilets. And yes, the heated toilet seats.
Good day, lovely morning here in Busan, and we survived with our first roadhouse station here. How did we go with that roadhouse station?
It was good actually. We were hidden between all the trucks, but we probably slept from let's say maybe 11 to 5 o'clock in the morning. So not too bad. So yeah, at least we were not kicked out. So that was good.
That's right. I'm laughing because what did you say?
I said, Joseph, it's good for you to drive in the city in Busan because I think you're gonna cry within 1 minute.
Yeah, driving here is really intense. Even for Martin, which is experienced driver, you know.
It's generally okay, but this is the first country where we have to drive on the right. Plus, after 3 months of Japan, where everybody is so polite on the road, this is probably normal. But here in Korea, but it feels a little bit like aggressive. But it's just compared to Japan, the difference is very big. And then the roads are quite complicated here as well, with, compared to the countryside of Japan, where we came from. But all good, we're managing, so no accidents yet. That's plastic. After a challenging start, we decided to spend the day exploring. And that's when South Korea began to reveal a different side of itself. Perched above the coastline was a beautiful temple filled with colorful lanterns carrying prayers and wishes. With the sound of the ocean below and the giant golden Buddha watching over the bay. It was the first moment since arriving that everything seemed to slow down.
So nice in here.
Beautiful.
All the wishes.
Colorful. Very
Yeah.
different than Japan. You can
Yeah.
definitely see there's more Chinese influence here. But, nice temple.
Indeed.
And it was Big Buddha's birthday yesterday, so he looked like he had quite a few cakes.
Buddha is very happy.
I think so too. One unexpected stop was the Helinox Flagship store. We've been using their gear for years while traveling, so it was pretty cool to visit the brand's home country and see where it all started.
Amazing up here. They have a lot of collection. It looks like almost a museum, you know? Like we never see them outside of Australia. But of course, this is the pioneer store. Almost lunchtime, and we found a spot next to the water, which is Mark now is cooking our lunch, and this is what we got. See view.
The first 48 hours in South Korea hadn't exactly gone to plan. There had been rain, paperwork, sleepless nights, and a steep learning curve. But standing here on the coast in Busan, it finally felt like we could take a breath. We were in a new country, a new adventure was beginning, and despite a challenging start, we couldn't wait to see what South Korea had in store for us.